Do you ever feel the need to just escape? Yeah, I don't know. I lived in this tiny little town. Do you ever notice they have this kind of inertia to them? Like a sort of gravity that pulls you in. The more days and nights you spend becoming familiar with them, it's like this gentle stamp that gets imprinted on your mind. And even though you don't ever feel it, it just gently presses itself again and again, and it becomes like the face of family or something, like a sibling. And you see a part of you in it. Like there's a part of it in you, or the other way around, or both ways, I don't know. But the deeper the stamp, the heavier the weight. The more you feel tied to it. It's like every memory is like a string that gets pinned just underneath your skin and tied to the ground. It's hard to just leave. And when you're someone who has to escape, but you're in love with someone who wants to stay, well, it's a tricky one. Every memory I have with him feels like pins under my skin, tying me down, weighing me down. It's not a bad weight, it's just a weight. I thought I needed the shock of jumping into salty, freezing water to feel awake. But the longer I'm on my own, the more I feel I'm falling asleep. So, yeah. I left. Felt crazy at the time. I guess it still does, to be leaving him. But the further I got from home and from him, I just kept thinking, it feels like the strings underneath my skin start to get tense and snap out of me. And I feel the rips, but I feel lighter. I feel okay. I feel nice. But there's this one string I still can't snap. It's this night. It's not even a special night. It was just one of those nights I couldn't get to sleep. You know? My thoughts are buzzing around in my head, as they usually do right when I'm trying to sleep, and I couldn't quieten them. I remember the curtains were open just a little bit, and this thin beam of light flowed into the room. And I could hear the cars in the distance, and they sounded like waves. It was just me and him. And even though it was freezing, I laid there, not even shivering. I could see my breath. I could listen to him breathing in and out, like waves. beam of light cast this lovely orange glow onto the covers and along his collarbone. And I remember thinking to myself, how could I love someone like this? How could I ever love anything like that? And the tiny shadows would shrink and lengthen. Yes, he breathed in, out, like waves. I can still see it. It's all I can see. I once heard this story about a girl who called someone that she was with years before, and once they heard each other's voices, they just knew. Like the smell of home. And when they saw each other again, it was like nothing had ever changed, and they got swallowed up by each other all over again. And you know, when you see or you hear something that seems relevant to your life, you start to think that you were supposed to see it or something. Yeah. So I called his house phone because that was all I could find. And one of his kids answered the phone. And they handed it to their mom. And I just stayed quiet. I couldn't get a word out. I'm gone from that home, from him, and now there are kids and a mom